Today is going to be the third day in which we will cover the modern history part 2. So today is going to be day 3. Within this we will cover freedom struggle, mostly its movements, revolts, various movements, various revolts we'll cover in this particular segment. Okay, we wrote those questions. 2 questions were there, mostly on the movement, right? National movement which took place to achieve the freedom. Mostly we covered the 3 movement: Quit India, non-cooperation movement, as well as civil disobedience movement. 3 major movements were there. All 3, at least we brainstormed it to know what is our current knowledge level about this topic. Second, what we understood, what type of question UPSC is asking. From this question, both are PYQs. What UPSC is asking, what were the different events, right? You remember the first class of modern history, how we should see a particular topic. What I told, how to introduce one topic in the modern history. One way of introducing is take the event and see what was the preceding event. You remember what led to that event? Then this event lead to what in the conclusion, right? Basically what we discussed was, if any event, mostly what UPSC is asking, the major event means, let's say, the movement. So this is the current event, let's say. There is some causes behind such event. What were the causes? What led to this event? And because of this event, it lead to what? Getting? So this is preceding event, and what will be the succeeding event. This is creating a kind of thinking you have to develop while covering the modern history or any history, right? Forget about the answer writing for now. If you're reading modern history tomorrow, revising your notes, your book or anything, when you cover what topic, let's say that we cover the non-cooperation movement from my book, I have to close my eyes and think, okay, what were the event which led to non-cooperation movement? And because of non-cooperation movement, it led to what next? For example, in non-cooperation movement, before this, there was Home Rule movement, 1916. After that, there was World War I started, 1914 to during that time it was happening. So the World War I and then this Home Rule movement, and there were some British operation. Because of this, non-cooperation movement started. Even the Rowlatt Act, then Jallianwala, these things led to this. Because of the non-cooperation movement, this Chaura Chauri incident, after that what happened, there was repression, as well as then there were division also. No changes and then pro changes. And this created the ground for revolutionaries also started coming up, because they were dissatisfied with the non-cooperation movement. And also this non-cooperation movement, learning from it, helped INC, Gandhiji to start civil disobedience movement in 1929, right? So every event has certain linkage with the past event, and it have the leading towards the further event. This is being trend, and UPSC is also asking similar thing. Previously, this event is nothing but the causes in a way, because this event led to the Quit India movement. Okay, that was the question, and similar pattern can be seen for other movement like Swadeshi movement. Before that, what happened? Bengal partition. After that, what happened? INC split. Revolutionaries started. More nationalism started. right? So that is being one of the pattern of the questions being asked. This is one. Every time it may not be in the template form, remember. But this also gives us clear picture that what can be the question and how should I frame my mind to write it. That means if that is asked, I will, it is not being asked directly, how I can use this as intro, this as what? Conclusion. So this created for us a kind of template which is generally what we say that the not taught. Generally what we say the political, social, economic, not every time. But this is also a pattern of thinking, a template for us about the modern history's questions. Right? Whether it is 1857 revolt, whether it is IMC formation in 1885, whether it is Swadeshi movement, home rule movement, non-cooperation, civil disobedience, and this Quit India movement. It has certain event before that. It has led to certain event after that. We need to be aware about that. Okay, that is going to helpful for us if the direct question is asked. For example, the first question: what were the events that led to the Quit India movement? Asked in 2024. If not asked directly, it will help us to write introduction and the conclusion. Clear? The template. Noted this part. Okay. So this is going to be helpful for us on movements. If the question is asked on movements, okay, significant movement, especially the most important movements being asked is, remember, 1857 revolt, second Swadeshi movement, or you can say that the this 1905 is also called as the anti-Bengal partition movement. Third thing they are asking is the home rule movement. Fourth is non-cooperation movement. This is 1916. This is 1920. Non-cooperation movement. Then you have civil disobedience movement. Around 28, 29 they started. Then you have Quit India movement, 1942. One more important question is the naval mutiny, I think in 1945. These are the 7 important movements you have to cover under this topic, this template. And this one template, this is the your template 1, is that you have to cover the preceding events and the succeeding event on these topics. Clear? Now let's try. Naval mutiny, that is a revolt. Basically, they revolted. The naval, what was that? HMIS or some naval force was there. I think in Mumbai, they revolted against the British Navy. Okay, we call this mutiny because when it is done by the army or the naval forces, when they do, we call this basically they revolted against their own masters there. Okay, so this is the first thing. Now, second thing, it is saying that what were the result. Basically, it's asking the nothing but the previous, this one, isn't it? The events they are asking the preceding, what led to this event, and now they are asking point out its result. It's nothing but what led to. Clear? So here, what we have, how we have to write is that how it led to the different impact. And you remember yesterday's template. Whenever it is asking about result, outcome, how we have to segregate that? Yes, immediate impact, that is short-term impact, and the long-term impact. Okay, so here also how we can create is that if they are asking, the second part is your, what they are asking is the result or outcome of movement. result or outcome of movement, if they are asking this question, then how we have to segregate a immediate or short term impact. This will be the specific point we have to write. B, we have to write long term impact. Okay, so short term impact, long term impact. Now the short term impact, I gave you certain framework here also. When you're writing the short term impact, here the first can be what was the impact on nationalism. Nationalism, because nationalism, after every movement, nationalism got more strengthened. We want our country wala feeling started coming, right? So nationalism was a long-term impact. It doesn't happen immediately. Na? It generates this nationalistic feeling over the time. So long-term. Second, there will be the political impact. Political in the sense, sometimes the constitution, they will give more right within the constitution, right? Gradually they gave the to form the constituent assembly or like that. So political impacts. Then there will be some social impact, more participation of women, tribals, peasants, anti-untouchability, awareness. These all things will start coming under the social. Along with that, events, movement also bring the economic impact. What kind of economic impact we see? What kind of economic impact? See, for example, from after the any movement like the civil disobedience movement. Yes, more self-reliant, more Swadesi. So the village economy, you see the non-cooperation movement or the Swadesi movement, they wanted to bring more Swadesis, self-reliant. So if it is being the push is towards the Swadesi, then the rural artisans, khadi, these things will grow. Is it an economic impact? Yes, right? Second, if you think about the every movement along, see, our movements were not like the just to go and protest or fight with the Britishers. The movements also involves the speeches, sabhas, discussions. These kind of discussions, sabhas, speeches also educate people. Political education, also social education. They talk about the equality. We should come away from this caste discrimination. We should limit the barrier of different religion. So the Hindu-Muslim unity, these were the key features of these movements. Anti-untouchability were key features. Those were nothing but the social impact. It will bring some level, right? Similarly, political constitution awareness, political participation, this all thing will increase.
Mass participation will come in which sections that we have to do.
See, mass participation, you can, in my answer, I kept that point as a separate point only, is the immediate result. Immediately it brought the mass participation. But that you can bring is the political participation. Basically, people are participating to get the political power, isn't it? Social power we already having. Society, they are not interfering. British has captured our political power, isn't it? They captured our institutions. Like they are the people who are making the law. So the political power was ultimately in the hand of Britishers. So when people are taking part in the national movement, basically they are asking for the political right, isn't it? So the mass participation is to achieve the political goal. So you can keep it in the political aspect. But the mass participation where the immediate effect actually, most of the time, isn't it? Like the Quit India movement launched, immediately we saw the mass participation. These events, the long-term impact, for example, non-cooperation movement, actually created ground for the mass participation later. And that's why the next question, that is the constructive program by Gandhiji. Basically, constructive programs are nothing but these programs before the movements. Gandhiji's idea was that people should be ready to take part. Why they are taking part? They should not only take part in the movement to gain the political power, which will ultimately may go to those who are elites or powerful. But people should also take part in these movements so that they can uplift their social economic status. They become more empowered. They should know why they are participating in these movements. That was his thinking. That's why he used to work on this constructive program. When the leaders were forcing him to launch the program now, launch the movement now, it's the right time, why you're not launching, he was not ready to launch it. Because he was feeling people are not ready. Not ready means what? They can't move to the street? No, not ready in the sense they are psychologically not aware like the why they are coming to the movement. It should not like they fill them into trucks and come force them to the rally. It is they should get the reason to be the part of those movements. And that's why these constructive programs like their education, political awareness, social equality, if they are taking part, some sections are saying, no, these are Dalits, these are untouchables, we won't be the part of their movement. Imagine the movement. Easy to break this, right? If they are saying like the Hindus are different, they are taking different part, Muslims are taking, easy to break unity. The impact will be less. See the thinking of Gandhiji, that he want a united movement against the British. And how can you unite if you are divided in terms of caste, class, religion, education level? Most elite are participating, rural people are not participating. It won't be the inclusive movement. Then if it is not inclusive movement, how the people will own it? How people will think that this freedom has been achieved by us? I was also the part of that movement. How they will feel it? Otherwise, they feel like the okay, elite people they fought, they got the independence. We were not part of it, and they will think like, okay, we have achieved it. They should listen to us. But now they can't say that because everyone was the part of it. Even women was part of it. Even tribal were part of it. Peasant, labor class. See the participation. It was necessary so that every citizen of this country own the national freedom, not only the few people. And that's why this mass participants are not important. And this is the question why UPSC is asking, why it becomes important for us to understand why this constructive program very important. Why given so much focus and why UPSC is being focused on this topic. At least we should understand this social media world, this WhatsApp universities are running the thing like the this should happen, Gandhiji did bad thing, that thing. This should not be. We should be aware about this as a civil servant, about this fact. That's why they are putting this kind of questions where we think what actual intention with that. Okay, coming back to the answer writing, you're getting like the why these are required. Immediate, we have seen that the what were the immediate outcomes here. Here we see that the long term. Okay, society you can divide like the mostly the social upliftment, social equality you can say was one of the theme of this movement. Education was another. Women participation was another angle. Social equality mostly anti-untouchability. Here, economic aspect was mostly the self-reliance, Swadeshi, self-reliance, boycott of British, boycott, domestic industry or indigenous industry, rural industry, these were the focus, cooperatives, panchayats, political, here most is the constitutional development, village panchayats, political education, nationalism itself is a point. So these are the any kind of movement, these points are common. Now if you have not studied also non-cooperation movement, civil disobedience movements, you can bring this points. Take example of Swadeshi. Was there education or not? Focus was there? Did they work on education? Yes. National Council of Education was established. Women participation they encouraged. Picketing and other thing. There were some women leaders also. Less, but there was there. You talk about the economic, yes, self-reliance. Swadesi itself name was there. Rural industry, domestic industries. We can get example like the Tuticorin or that Swadesi steam engine or some steam something was there. Then the constitutional development, they demanded for the more participation of the Indians in the councils. Village panchayats, yes, they promoted. Let's solve our issues here only in the village. Political education, yes, mass participation, why they should ask for the freedom, right? So these all were the part of take about the Swadesi non-cooperation movement, civil disobedience movement, or the Quit India movement. Do you have to prepare for everyone? Just what you need is the examples, some facts. Anyhow, you prepare from the prelims point of view. So in prelims, you have to prepare because questions will be direct. If you are prepared in the prelims, what you need to know is this framework. If you know this framework, same points which you study in the prelims can be used to write them. And that is the training we are giving here. How to utilize these things. Understood template number 2. If they ask the result, how to write. Clear? Any doubt here? No, right? Okay. Economics. See, economic impact, if they're asking, what was the economic impact of, let's say, the non-cooperation movement? There were awareness among, it created the awareness among the people that we should focus on our own industry. They started burning the clothes of the, which is coming from the foreign. If they're burning the foreign clothes, they will adopt which one? Khadi or the locally made made products. So that will bring the more economic activity at the rural level. They will get the employment. So economic change will happen. So that will be the self-reliance. Today also Atmanirbhar Bharat. We can take the inspiration from our past. Clear? So boycott, that is the boycott the foreign cloth. So the import will decrease. Import will decrease, then you don't have to spend the forex reserve for them. Right? Then the domestic industry will start. So the more employment for the local people can be generated. So economic impact. Clear? So these were the events if they're asking, as well as the results. Now here the constructive program, here also similar. Constructive program means like this program. You have to divide that into the social programs, economic programs, political. We'll see in the answer. But one more type of question UPSC you can expect, which is there in the part of syllabus, is the contribution. I think contributions have the next class, no? Have you seen the syllabus? Is it the next class? Let me check. Contributors and contributions? Third class, huh? Do you have syllabus? No? I shared with you, Durga. Yes. The fourth day, British policies, important contributors and contributions in freedom struggle. We'll cover this contribution part in the next moment. So here, causes, impacts. Causes and impacts we are covering here. Any other aspect? Yeah, participation will be there in these movements. If the participation asked, like in the Quit India movement, what was the participation? Okay, if they ask like the participation, you have to divide, or the sorry, not contribution. Let's write it as participation. Contribution we'll cover next class. Participation. So whenever this participation is coming, we have to divide in one sectional participation. Sectional participation, and second sectoral participation. Sorry, regional participation. So two we have to see. One is the sectional participation, like the different sections, and second is the regional participation. We have to see in the two way. Sectional participation we have to see is that what we have to see first. You see, first, what was the participation of women? What is the level of women participation? We have to see the participation of tribals. Most of the time, these were, you have to see this, you have to read it. Peasant participation. Or the farmers. participation. Student participation. Mostly Muslim participation. These are the four sections of participation. One also says the industrial class. Educated Indians, or you can write like middle class. Yeah, Dalit participation. We should not use that word. So always, whenever you are using this kind of word, Dalit, because these are not dignified words, so use in the inverted comma, so-called Dalit, right? Untouchable, so-called untouchable. These has been termed as Harijan, respectful word, Harijan, scheduled caste, right? So they have been termed as the Harijan. But mostly this is not used because Harijan participation, mostly when we read this modern history, we won't find this as a separate category. Mostly the women student, these two participation. And when they ask us to critically examine a movement, these points become helpful. We say that the women participation was low. In civil disobedience movement, Muslim participation was low compared to the non-cooperation movement. In the non-cooperation movement, there was Khilafat movement was also added. So that's why the Muslim participation was very high. But the same level of participation we did not observe in the civil disobedience movement. So that is a limitation because it's not inclusive. All sections of societies are not part of it. So when you are studying this participation, try to observe that in which kind of movement the participation of different sections was what level. That will create a ground for to analyze the impact of that particular movement.
Industrial class, most of them are modernists, and they themselves, industrial class, mostly they themselves are modernists. And why would they participate in harming themselves?
Industrial class. Here, basically, what I wanted to tell is the capitalist. You know, there is already a question on in the UPSC. What was the role of capitalist class in the freedom movement? Basically, capitalist class like the Jamnalal Bajaj, Tata, there were Birla also. These people used to provide the financial support, ideological support, organizational support, right? So, what was their participation? Were they supporting the INC in those movement or not? For example, in the non-cooperation movement, there was a separate organization formed, anti-non-cooperation movement organization. They created to oppose it. Initially, they were indifferent. They wanted some support from Britishers. So, if they directly support the INC, the Britishers support may reduce in the establishments of industries and do the businesses. But later on, when the Britishers' policy were against the domestic industrial class, they started supporting the INC. So, what was that participation? In the initial, you will see that in Swadeshi and other, some capitalist class participate, but most will remain indifferent. But later on, we'll see some participation. So that way we have to see. Very limited, but we need to be aware about it. Suppose the question is asked directly, analyze the participation, people participation in the Quit India movement or the civil disobedience movement. This dimension will help you not to think about only women or only middle class, but thinking even about the small class of the society at that point of time. And that will help you to write a more broad answer. Because this is a very important aspect. Because we are talking about a freedom movement which is inclusive, which is not only about the few class, but the whole society. And if that is an important component of our freedom movement, you can expect question on that, and we should be prepared about it. That's it. Any other thing? Here, I told already, right? Regional means northern, Hindi belt, southern, third, northeastern, or we can say eastern. Mostly Bengal was the center, and the western. Northwestern was also like Ghaffar Khan was there, no? Khan Ghaffar Khan, yes, red shirts. Northern was epicenter was the Bihar, UP, some places. Eastern, Bengal was the epicenter. Western, mostly this Bombay region was the epicenter. Southern, Madras region, Tamil Nadu. In Andhra Pradesh, which was the center? Andhra Pradesh, Telangana. Vijayawada was the center. Oh, Gandhi came.